so much for coming tonight, that you are here through the rain and the dark, and it feels like it's midnight or 3 a.m. or something. Tells me a lot about how you value your role as a parent and how much you are committed to doing your best to show up and serve for your children. Tonight, as part of our Parenting Now series, we have Nancy Kotz with us. Nancy has an MSW and an LCSW. She's a licensed clinical social worker, a Gestalt psychotherapist, and a founding member of the Seaside Gestalt Institute. She also has founded the Successful Parenting Institute and the Be the Adult, which is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. She's been in private practice for over 15 years. She provides individual, couples counseling, and family psychotherapy. She also does presentations such as the one you're going to enjoy tonight at schools, in churches, in communities, and other organizations. So please give Nancy a warm welcome. Thank you so much.
Can everybody hear me? I've been talking all day, so I will try to project. If you can't hear me, just please. Again, as Elizabeth said, thank you so much for swimming here tonight. So it tells me a lot about how you value your children too. Do you mind coming this way so I can just I'm sure. That'd be great. So I'm thanking you for coming, and more importantly, your children are thanking you for coming. It takes a lot of courage to come to a parenting seminar. So I know that the people who come to the parenting seminars are doing a lot really well, more than you can do. So thank you very much for coming. Your children will thank you, and their children will thank you, and their children will thank you. Okay? So during my talk, what I want you to know is that everything that I say comes right from my heart. Some of it might be a little uncomfortable to hear, but know that it's just information that I believe would help you be your best self and parent in the best possible way. We all parent like we were parented unless we make a conscious effort to do it differently. Those of you who know me, I don't blame, shame anybody. We're all doing our best, right? Some of the tools we got from our parents work really well. Some of the tools we got don't. So if you can just look at it like there's no blame and looking back and wishing things were different, it's here we are. What do I have that takes good care of me? And what do I have that gets in my way? And possibly my children's way. Okay? So we all carry a bat around. I should have done this. Why didn't I say this? Only if you had done this. Everybody take yours, please, and put it under the chair in front of you. Okay? And leave it here when you go home. Because I don't know much about baseball, so bear with me. But if you're standing at a baseball diamond and you want to run around the bases, are you going to increase the probability that you're going to run around the bases and enjoy doing it, or decrease the probability after you've hit yourself? Okay? So please leave the bats here and just have grace. The more grace we can have for ourselves, the more grace we can have for our children and everybody else in our life. Okay? So everybody raise your right hand, please, and pat yourself on the back. Beautiful. All right. Anybody ever look like that?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. All day long sometimes, every day, right? I know you're here because you love your children. And like I said, that you're doing a lot really well. I also know that you're aware that parenting is high stakes, very serious business, right? Where else do we feel vulnerable and unqualified all day long, right? Super hard. Anybody ever wonder why it's so hard? We're going to address that tonight, okay? I'm assuming if you took some time and I asked you what you're looking for from your children, I hear words like love, cooperation, respect, right? Peace. And parents who aren't getting the love, cooperation, and respect that they want, they'll call me. They'll say, Nancy, I'm going to drop off Junior, go to Harris Teeter. I'll be back in an hour. Please fix it. Okay? And I'm much nicer than this, I promise, but I say I won't. I don't have a magic wand every day. right? But building great relationships simply takes a lot of time and hard work, okay? When do people want things fixed? Now, yesterday, right? So do I. We live in a fast food culture. But building great relationships simply takes a lot of time and hard work. Okay? So children throw test ropes at us. When I do this, this is a test rope. Okay, I usually have one, I forgot. But all day long, rapid fire, right? I'm not going to eat that. I'm not going to school. I don't want to play with her. I don't want her to have my book. Right? All sorts of things. All day long, we throw rapid fire at us. And just when we figure one thing out, what happens? Something new pops up. Okay? So I'm going to teach you a 4-step parenting process to use when anything is thrown at you. And what I want to tell you is what I'm going to teach you tonight, really relationship skills. That we're going to focus more on parenting, but these are skills that you can use with anybody. And I recommend that you do. Okay? Good. Before we can get to the 4-step parenting process, we have some work to do. And the first thing we need to do is look inward. And this is when, in the past, parents have come up to me after my talk. Nancy, when you said that, I looked at my watch and I thought, how long do I have to stay here? I'm fine. It's my kid. It needs help, but I am so fine. I'm perfect. I'm good, right? So, but what is parenting? Parenting is showing up at the contact boundary, and there's a line here with my child, and we label it parenting. You can label it whatever you want. It's two people showing up and making contact. I need to be acutely aware of what I am bringing with me to that moment, to that contact boundary, when I show up with my child or with anyone. Am I the leader that my children need? Am I safe? Am I safe for them to connect to? Am I safe for them to want to look to me for leadership and guidance? So I view the family as a system, and we are leaders of that family system. Okay? Think about for a moment people in your life who you've actually wanted to look to for leadership and guidance, whether it's now, 20 years ago, right? 30 years ago. I know many of us are not over 30, right? But those people that you actually wanted to look to for leadership and guidance, what kind of adjectives would you use, if anyone is in line, please now, to describe those people that you actually wanted to look to for leadership? Anyone?
Moral.
I'm sorry?
Moral.
Moral? Uh-huh.
Thoughtful.
Thoughtful?
Safe.
Safe? Calm? Calm? You get the gold star. Experience? Fun? Any others? Thank you. I don't think even if we sat here for 52 years, I would hear words like loud, irrational, in my face, explosive, inconsistent, right? So if we want to be those leaders that our children want to look to for leadership and guidance, we must become what I call the 3 C's. Calm, capable, and connected people. If I can become a calm, capable, and connected person, I have a pretty good shot at becoming a calm, capable, and connected parent. Okay? So, some people have said after I said that, they're like, oh, forget it. I will never be calm. Right? And so I just want you to tell me that it's never too late. If we look at relationships as based on patterns and not personalities. Anyone ever try to change someone's personality? Yeah. I know I have. Does it work? No. Right? But if we look at relationships as based on patterns, when my child does this, what do I do? And then when I do that, what does my child do? And then when my child does that, what do I do? Right? When we look at a pattern, we have a lot of power. Okay, you can look at the context of the relationship, the context of the dance. We're just dancing when we come to the contact boundary with anyone. Will you be my whiny child?
No, I don't wanna.
Perfect. Okay, so put your hand up. He's going to move away. So let's pretend we're shaking hands, okay? So she's my whining child, I'm the parent, okay? And I'm going to shake hands with her and say, great, how can I help you whine? Every time you whine, I'm going to give you so much attention. Every time you whine, I'm going to beg and plead that you please stop whining because you're driving me crazy. every time you whine, you can tell anybody in the whole world who listen how whiny you are, okay? And in the process, this is not going to feel very good to you, right? And it will certainly not, thank you, feel very good to me, okay? So, what I need to do is look at my part in the handshake, okay? Good news is, any pattern that we are a part of, we helped create. Any pattern we're a part of, we helped create. If I help create this, I can change it, okay? So when I sit here as the parent with the whiny child, right, this is a very helpless, hopeless position to be in, right? It doesn't feel good to anybody. But if I can remove my hand from the handshake and look at myself and show up differently at that contact boundary we're talking about, guess what? Pattern changes. I feel better. I show up to that moment happier, more joyful, more peaceful, less stressed, whatever words you want to use. And then my child has a choice. Mom's dancing differently now. She doesn't do this anymore. She's doing this, right? So if my child learns, right, that if he shows up doing this, I'm going to be doing this. He has a choice, okay? So remember, when you are in a pattern, instead of waiting for the other person to change, it's a very helpless, hopeless position. You'll be there for 18 years, plus years with your child. You look at your part. This is what we're going to focus on tonight, how we remove our hand from the handshake. Okay? So, easy concept, right? Very hard to do. Why? Right? It's hard for our children to grow up, but who is it even harder for? Us, right? We're the adults in the relationship with their children. Simple, but really hard to do. Parenting demands that we grow up in at least three, really hard areas. You ready? Patience. Anyone have trouble with patience? Yes. Yeah. Integrity. Anyone have trouble with integrity? Say what I mean what I say, and follow through. Tough, right? And consistency. Where in your life are you challenged to be a grown-up 24/7 with very few breaks? That's one of the reasons why parenting is so hard. And those of you who know me know I promise very few things in this life. But I do promise this. How we grow ourselves up directly influences how our children grow themselves up. Okay? So kids also need us to grow up and be the adult, and they need us to be cool. And I'm not talking about going on Instagram or friending your kids on Facebook. Please don't do that. It's just creepy. Okay? What I'm talking about when they need us to be cool is they need us to calm down. So they need us to grow up, and they need us to calm down. And what calming down means is taking hold of my emotional responses, my behavior, no matter what my child does. Super hard. But they need us to be a grown-up, and they need us to calm down. That is called self-regulation, and we are going to spend some time on it. I hate to break it to you. I remember when I first heard this, I thought, really? But it's true. My children cannot make me scream. They cannot push me over the edge. They cannot bring me to my breaking point. Nobody has that power, thank goodness. Okay? So this is hard concept, but really important. Because emotional reactivity, that says reactivity ruins relationships. Okay? Emotional reactivity ruins relationships, not just with our kids, but any type of relationship. Okay? Thousands of reasons why. I'm just going to talk about a few. When we get reactive, we get regressive. When we get reactive, we get regressive. We regress down to our child's level, and then we wonder why they don't want to look to us for leadership and guidance. You have a 2 or 3-year-old throwing a tantrum. Hard, right? Head spinning, very hard. But when I get reactive and act just like my 2-year-old, right, makes things worse, and in the moment, my child's like, scared. Who is that person? I'm not going to listen to that person. I'm scared, right? And then my stress response, I'm scared, right? And so we're teaching our child what I'm saying to my child is my words are saying grow up and calm down. But what's my behavior saying? That's okay. You don't need to grow up and calm down because I can. Right? So we lose the respect that we need for them to want to look to us for leadership and guidance. Okay? Emotional reactivity not only creates bigger issues, but it often creates the very outcomes we're hoping to avoid. You guys like stories? Okay. So I had a mother who on the weekend she had to get all her son's soccer equipment. He was 4. She was in a rush. She was in the parking lot at Dick's and is kind of pulling into the store. She had like 5 minutes to get in and out. And so they get in the store, and the 4-year-old boy sees a big thing of balls. Okay. What happens? Boom, right? 4-year-old boy, big thing of balls, like a magnet. Mom flips out. She's like, don't play with the balls, we're gonna be late. Child looks up, sees crazy mom with the head spinning, takes off, right? He's running through Dick's. Mom's chasing him. Her emotional reactivity created the very outcome she was hoping to avoid. Now they were late. Okay? So, parenting is scary. You don't need me to tell you that, right? There's so many things I could have put up here. I just chose a few. When our children are little, we just need to keep them alive, right? Or especially when we're tired. The pandemic, we could talk about that for 16 years. It's a lot of anxiety, sibling rivalry, bullying. Will my child be bullied? Will my child be the bully? Grades, homework, anything like the screen, teenage issues, right? All pretty scary. So what happens is that data comes in, right? We're pretty smart. Why do we get reactive? Data comes in to the lower part of our brain, and we get scared. And we think our child in front of us is a tiger, right? So we go into the emotional part of our brain, right? And try to react to fight the tiger or run away from it. But it's not a tiger, it's our child. Okay? So we're going to dig way more into that in a few minutes. But I just really want you to understand what I'm talking about when I talk about emotional reactivity. We're all scared how our children will turn out, right? It's a lot of pressure. We want them to turn into the best people they can be. But we put a lot of pressure on ourselves and we have a lot of anxiety, a lot of what ifs, right? So we don't know what to do about our fear. So the data comes in and we react. We think if we can keep our thumb on top of our children, then we can micromanage how they are, then our anxiety will be brought down and then they can turn out how we want to be. Check, problem solved, great mom, right? But what happens when we keep our thumb on top of our children, right? Lots of things. But a quick example, I had a mom come in doing a lot of beautiful things with her daughter, talking about her daughter. I noticed pretty quickly she wasn't talking about her daughter's social relationships or her friends. So I just said, I'm curious, tell me, what's your daughter like? What did she do? And her affect changed. She got really serious. She goes, well, I really let her go out with friends. If she goes to the mall, I'm pretty close behind. She's like, I'm just scared. And what was in her backpack that we all have, right? I knew why she was scared. Are there any children? And she was scared. Her daughter was going to meet a boy, right? And then do things she didn't want her to do, or she was going to do drugs, and she let her out of her sight. So the mom, right, pure of heart, she had good intentions. She wanted to bring her anxiety down and protect her daughter. But think about that poor girl when in adolescence, the social relationships and peer groups are so important, right? Okay, this mom is stuck in what we call responsibility 4. Thank you. Okay, responsibility 4 means I can determine what you, my child or anyone, is thinking, feeling, and doing. Can we do that? Do we have control over what our children think, feel, and do? Who they talk to at school, whether they eat their vegetables, how nice they are, right? Whether they perform well on the test? No, it's a setup for a lot of frustration in parenting and other relationships too. Okay? Can you make them do their homework? Not listen, I'm not recommending this. You duct tape your arm to theirs and make them do their homework, right? Children just make different choices. People make different choices than we want them to. Okay, and that's just hard. So we need to concentrate on where we have control, which is with who? Ourselves, right? So watch the red word. Changing that one word changes everything. When you change responsibility 4 to responsibility 2, it changes everything. So responsibility 4, which we're not, is I'm responsible for what you're thinking, how you're feeling, and what you're doing. Even when I'm not with you. Set up for disaster. Right? Not possible unless you have an app, right? So instead, responsibility 2. I'm responsible to you, right? For what I'm thinking, how I'm feeling, and most importantly, what I'm doing towards you. In this moment, I have pure responsibility to be the best presenter I can be. To my clients, my responsibility to my clients to be the best therapist I can be. To my child, to be the best mother I can be. To society, to be the best person I can be. Which means every single day. It is my responsibility to think about what be aware of what I'm thinking, how I'm feeling, and most importantly, what I'm doing towards you. Okay? So everybody say this out loud, please. I am responsible to my child for how I behave, regardless of how my child behaves. And that's a hard one, right? All right. But it is so important to get ourselves non-reactive and regulated because we are modeling how to live life. We are modeling how to handle anger, hurt, sadness, fear, joy, how to bake cookies, how, I was going to say balance of checkbook, I am definitely dating myself here. I don't think people use checks anymore. But how to cook, not so well in my house, but we are modeling for our children how to live life. We are giving them their blueprints that they will carry with them. We are hardwiring them, right? The child's brain is not fully wired until age 25. We have a lot of work to do, okay? So we need to look at our behavior when we see something we don't like, right? Remember those patterns I was talking about? You see your child screaming. You hear your child screaming. What's the first question to ask yourself? Am I screaming? Okay, if you see your child putting their shoes on the floor instead of in the basket, look at the grown-ups in the house. What are we doing? Okay, I had a mom come in, and it was very sad. She was distraught. She caught her 11-year-old smoking. What was my very first question? You smoke? And she said, yes, but I hide it really well. Okay, so children desperately need us to be better leaders. But they are not going to come up and say, Mom, you are screwing us up. Okay? But they say that to us every day by throwing test ropes at us all day long. Kids throw out test ropes to see if we're going to be the grown-up they need, if they can feel safe, if we're going to be regulated, and we can be that leader who they need, right? So are we there yet? It's not fair. I'm not going to eat that. Those are all power struggles. Okay? Tests. Sorry. Here's one. Anyone's kid ever say they're bored? If they haven't, they will, right? So, child goes out at test rope, says I'm bored, right? So the data comes in, lower part of my brain, I'm like, ooh, maybe I'm angry. Triggers my anger, I react to try to control, I pick up the rope and I engage in a power struggle. Or, what do you mean bored? How can you be bored? You know what boring is? Going to work every day to pay for all this stuff, okay? Now I'm engaged in a power struggle. Or maybe the data comes in, triggers me, I react because I'm scared. In my brain, I'm thinking, bored. How could she be bored with all this stuff? That must be the worst mom. When she's 25, she might be sitting in her apartment sucking her thumb. She doesn't know how to entertain herself. So I'm scared, right? So what do? I react, try to fix. Why don't you bake cookies? Why don't you read a book? Why don't you play basketball? Why don't you go find your brother? Why don't you clean your room? So now I'm trying to fix. This is all because I am being reactive. I am scared. I'm reacting, trying to fix, engaged in a power struggle. Okay, so 2 more ways we parent through our reactivity. I hope you see I'm building the case not to do this parenting through reactivity until we get to the 4-step process. We push kids, that's just too much challenge. We overschedule them, right? We sign them up for 3 or 4 different activities each semester. Then we run around with our heads cut off, trying to get them everywhere. We're eating fast food, we're not having family dinners, we're not connecting, right? Or, right, we encourage them to take every AP class possible, right? I had a parent, again, no blame, shame, she was doing her best. She signed up for a 6th grader for SAT tutoring. In her mind, brought her anxiety down. That was her best. She wanted her daughter to be prepared. But that poor kid, right? In 6th grade, trying to keep up with the Joneses with SAT tutoring, right? So when we do this, we structure all these activities and they start to grow and we wonder why they lack joy and why they have trouble maintaining relationships. They haven't had time. They haven't had time to just be and figure out who they are. Sometimes the polarity of that, right, is we don't push enough, right? Not enough challenge. We bubble wrap them, okay? We do their homework for them. We call the school when they got a B and we think they should have gotten an A. We do their science projects. We micromanage their friendships, right? Then we complain as they get older why they lack initiative and drive, okay? And why typically they're sad. So what we want to do, well, let me back up. It's like going to the gym, putting the weights down in front of your child who you want to get stronger, reaching over, picking up the weights and doing the reps yourself. Who's going to get stronger, you or your child? Okay, so what we want is finding a healthy balance between support and challenge so they can figure out who they are. Too much support and not enough challenge clips their wings. All right, too much challenge and not enough support, they typically freeze and shut down. So the constant battle, constant awareness as they grow of looking at how much do we need to support our child and how much do we need to challenge them. When they're younger, we need to support them more and challenge less, but that needs to shift as they grow. So they can figure out who they are, not who we want them to be. There's a space between challenge and support called the growing edge. That is where we want to be, ourselves too. Enough challenge, enough support for myself so I keep growing, but not too much that I never want to leave the house. Okay? All right. So here we are. We are finally at, drum roll, the 4-step parenting process. Hopefully everybody understands that parenting through reactivity is not good. All right, so what we're going to do is talk about the parenting process. I just want to talk to you for just a moment, really my take on parenting. You can read so many different ways to parent, techniques, discipline techniques, all sorts of things. What it really comes down to is the relationship. Right? Children are born, they take their hearts, they hand them to us. I always get chills when I talk about this. They take their heart, they hand it over, and they say, Mom, Dad, whomever's raising them, please take good care of my heart. They have no history to tell them that that vulnerability is not safe. Okay, vulnerability is allowing ourselves to be seen. So they take their heart, they hand it over. And if we do a decent job, we don't have to be perfect. The research shows that 70% of the time or more, they really need to do a pretty decent job. Just 70%, not 100. Okay? But if 70% of the time or more, we do a pretty good job of holding their heart. What happens is the relationship between parent and child is really good. And even more importantly, child feels really good about him or herself. And then even more importantly, child's going to go out into the world and unconsciously look for people who perpetuate how he or she feels about him or herself. So when they feel really good about themselves, they'll go out and seek friends, coworkers, partners, bosses, who typically treat them the way that they feel they deserve to be treated. Okay? But when our child hands their heart over, and because we have a really big backpack that maybe we haven't looked at, we've been through a lot of trauma, we haven't done a lot of work, right? And it gets in our way, and we're not showing up 70% of the time or more in the way we kind of need you to take best care of them. Then they slowly withdraw their heart. Why? They have to, right? No one's protecting them, they have to protect themselves. And if it's real toxic, they'll build walls in between parent and self. This relationship between parent and child is not so great. They don't feel so great about themselves, and then they go out to the world looking for those relationships that, again, perpetuate how they feel about self. Okay? So really, the message here with the parenting process is really about how do we show up open-hearted to take really good care of our children so they want to look to us for leadership and guidance and connection. So first step, okay, this is the parenting process. First step, awareness that I'm triggered. Does everybody know what I mean by that? Right, data's coming in, I'm starting to sweat, I feel like I'm gonna vomit, I have butterflies in my stomach, I have wings fluttering here, my fists are clenched, my jaw is tight, I'm scrunching up, I'm screaming. Data's coming in, goes to the lower part of my brain, I'm triggered. Okay, best way to know that I'm triggered, right, is to look at my body. Our bodies cannot lie to us. My brain, I don't know about yours, but can spin anything. But my body cannot lie, the data is accurate. Right? We really need to start paying attention to the data in our body. It will not lie. It gives us so much information. Okay, so the data comes in, I have a stress response, my body's natural reaction to try to take care of myself. There's physiological changes that go on, and that creates my stress response, which we're going to talk about, fight, freeze, or flee. So data comes in, I perceive a threat. All right, we have to be aware that we're perceiving a threat, or nothing good will come out of what comes next. If I'm not aware that I'm triggered, I'm just going to react and parent the way I've been talking about. So we first have to have that awareness that something is going on. A text, someone's name popped up on my phone. Data's coming in, I'm triggered. Get to know your body, that's where all the information is. Okay, threat is a matter of perception. This is really important. Not just in our own homes, but out in the world too. Right? We all show up differently. We all have different neurobiology. We all have different parents who raised us. We all have been through trauma. Some of us big T's, some little T's. Right? We're all bringing different conditioning, different attachment systems, all this stuff with us to the moment in our backpacks. So we all are going to put on different colored glasses that we perceive things through. Okay? So we're talking about perceiving threat. Two quick examples, right? So I run typically in the mornings. It's dark outside with a running partner. We were running a couple years ago. All of a sudden, both of us, about the same time, felt something squishy under our feet. Okay, data came in. My brain said, red alert, run. And I ran faster than I've ever run in my entire life, as far as I could go. Until that moment, I noticed she wasn't with me. So I stopped, and I was starting to play. Turned around, and looked. And she was standing over what turned out to be a snake. Like, oh, that poor thing. I wonder what kind it is. I wonder if we can help it. It's crazy, huh? Right? But we had two very different stress responses to the exact same stimulus. Right? It was because of what each of us brought with us to that contact boundary. That moment was very different. Her nervous system said no threat. Mine said red alert. Children, right? Let's say an 8-year-old just spent 10 days working on a Lego. Right? Those really cool, complicated systems. And he comes sobbing because he can't find peace. To him, it's a red alert moment. If he perceives it as a huge threat. In my brain, I'm like, big deal. Right? It's just a Lego. There's probably 1,000 of them under his bed. Right? But in that moment, we're perceiving the data very differently. Really important to know so we can do what I'm going to teach you. Excuse me. Take a minute to take that in. Okay, I'm going to have you repeat the steps as we move on so they imprint in your brain so you can leave here and start to use them. What's the step one that we were talking about? Awareness of what? Perfect. Okay. Step two, self-regulation. We're going to talk about what it is, why it matters, and most importantly, how to achieve it. Okay? All right. I'm going to get a little heady for a few minutes. Okay. What is self-regulation? Can you guys see? Okay. I'm able to manage my emotions, my disruptive emotions and impulses, right? I'm very mindful of what I'm doing. I'm in the present moment connected to self. I am bigger than my emotions. They are not bigger than me, right? I can therefore respond instead of react. I can be my best self for myself and anybody else that I interact with. I am in what we call my resiliency zone. So in that middle, between the two horizontal lines, we say we're self-regulated and we're in our resiliency zone. It just depends what theoretical framework you're looking at. But it's a state of well-being in mind, body, spirit. When in the resilience zone, one is able to handle the stresses of life. I am bigger than my emotions. It doesn't mean that I'm just in unicorn and butterfly land, just feeling joyful. I can be angry, hurt, sad, or scared, and I can handle it. My emotions are not bigger than me. I'm bigger than them. Okay? I can never take best care of myself in our relationship. Our nervous system is designed to pulse in and out. Last heady slide, but an important one. Okay, so in that middle, where you see Y valve, the resiliency zone, that's where I'm regulated. I can be my best self. The Y valve part of my brain, prefrontal cortex region, is in charge. It's steering. Okay? In this space, I can be intuitive, I can be mindful, I can be intellectual, right? I can be thoughtful, I can do all sorts of things when I'm in this part of my brain, in the wise owl brain. Okay? So, what happens is, though, a trigger, right? From my child, from a partner, from the news, from our phone, right? From a thought, triggers us, it bumps us out of our zone. It can happen in a second. Okay, I'm just going along, la 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 la, boom. I get bumped out. If I get bumped high, I'm in the hyper arousal. You see the root word hyper, right? I'm bumped out of the resiliency zone. Okay? and I'm in what we call hyper-dysregulation. And it's easy to tell when we're hyper-dysregulated or someone else is because the energy is just flying out, boom, 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 hitting us, okay? Hyperactivity, hypervigilance, mania, anxiety, panic, rage, right? That's where the anger, the energy is coming out. I'm hyper-dysregulated. I'm bumped up high, okay? When I get bumped high, I go into the part of my nervous system that doesn't allow me to stay in the wise out brain. Instead, it bumps me into the sympathetic branch of my nervous system into, right, the barking dog. Right? You can't see it, it's covered up. But I'm still talking about the hyper-arousal, hyper-dysregulation. I'm in the barking dog part of my brain, which is the lower part of my brain where emotion sits, right, where trauma sits, okay? And the dog starts barking. And when the dog barks, the wise owl flies away. Like, I don't want to be here. There's a dog barking. So the wise owl flies away, and now my emotions become bigger than me. And my emotions are driving the bus. Okay? So that can also happen in the other direction. I'm in my resiliency, regulated zone, and I get triggered, and I get bumped low. I'm now hypo-dysregulated, hypo-arousal. So all that energy is still there, but now it's staying in. I get disconnected, shut down, depressed, exhausted, numb, disengaged, right? So it's harder to tell. Sometimes people look really calm, but they're hypo-dysregulated, they're just shut down, okay? So neither one of those is going to take good care of us because the barking dog is still in charge and still in the emotional part of the brain. It just looks different. But what we do, we typically bump in and out of all of those all day long. We just don't want to get too high or too low. It's really hard to come down when you're too high or too low. We want to just kind of bump in and out, just kind of here. +1, +2, -1, -2, in and out, okay? The most important thing, you need to be aware that this is happening. That we're bumped out of the place where I can take good care of myself and somebody else. Okay. This is so important. We're not born, right, knowing how to regulate. We need to teach our children. This is one of the most important things we can teach our children is how to regulate, right? When they can't regulate, right, we need to be what we call their external regulator to help them co-regulate. Thanks to mirror neurons, right? We can be in the room with them, and if they're freaking out, and we're freaking out, right? Boom. But if they're freaking out and I'm regulated, then they're going to come down. They're going to feel safe. They're safer. Okay, and I'll give you a bunch of examples. But if we can't regulate, we become part of the threat, and we make things worse. That child with the Lego who's really upset perceived as a threat. If I'm dysregulated, right, he's going to be like, wait, is it okay to be upset? Why is mom freaking out? I can't talk to her, right? So we become part of the threat and make things worse, okay? Best way to teach a child to regulate is to keep modeling it, right? The more I can model regulation for my children, the more they're going to learn it. If you can think of them living in a pool, right? And if the pool is like a tsunami, right? It's going to be really hard for them to regulate. But if the pool is just more like a backyard swimming pool, it's going to be much easier for them to learn to regulate. Okay, so, all right. How do we get back in the resiliency zone when we're bumped out? Now remember, you have to be aware you're bumped out or these won't work. Okay? You can take pictures of the slide too. I think I was told this is going to be on video. So.
Yeah, it will be.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So you can slow the frames down. I know I'm going fast, just have a lot of information to do. Okay. So we want to be able to help ourselves, take good care of ourselves and our children in any relationship we're in. We have to notice that we're triggered and we're bumped high or we're bumped low. Okay? And the moment we're aware, the amygdala, the lower part of our brain, is like a smoke alarm. The first whiff of smoke, we need to reset our nervous system. This is evidence-based from the trauma world. Okay? So all of these, and sound like an infomercial have science behind them, right? They're very basic concepts, but they work. I use them all the time. It's really cool when I've heard to reset our nervous system, the languages, we talk to our nervous system through sensations. I thought that was so cool, right? It's our sensations that talk to our body and help it reset. So we want to reset before we open our mouth or do anything, okay? You're bumped out, reset our nervous system. We We gotta get the wise owl back so we can take good care of ourselves and those around us. So I put up some here. There's a great book called The Highway Inside of Me. It's on Amazon for like $10. It's for kids. You can read it to them. I use it with adults too. Lots of information. There's a free app called iChill that has these things. Really, really good resource. Okay, so breath. When we breathe, we reconnect to self. Every time we take a breath, we're reconnecting back to self. Okay, lots of different ways to do this. The trauma world calls it soft belly breathing. What I like to do, if you do yoga, Pilates, and you have a different way to do this, that's great. What I like to do is called smell the flower, blow out the candle. So I'm going to take an equal inhale in and an equal exhale out. And when I blow out, I'm going to actually feel it on my hand. Let's all try it. Ready? Try breathing in for 4 and out for 4. Ready? Just notice when you do that a few times what that's like. I just felt my shoulders soften. Just notice. It's a simple act. Research shows that if we do that proactively several times a day, it helps us when we're actually dysregulated and triggered to get back to self-regulation easier. Okay? So set some timers in your phone and just take some moments to breathe. Okay? Check in with our senses. All right, this is really important. Remember this. Any data you can take in through your 5 senses, my mom taught kindergarten, see, touch, taste, hear, or smell, is present center data. It's right here. Being in the present moment is very powerful. It's the only place we can create change. The only place. Many of us live up in our heads in our history and the why did I do that? Only, right? Should have, shouldn't have. No matter how much you think about or analyze something that happened 3 minutes ago or 20 years, can you change it? So it's like being in a rocking chair, going back and forth, back and forth. We stay stuck. And then we bring that to the present moment. It's like carrying a heavy boulder through. Okay? Some of us take data in and run to the future. Can you control the future? No. We think we can, though. We worry enough about it. Although, what ifs? We need our hopes and goals and dreams for ourselves and those we love. How do we get there? In the present moment. What am I doing right now that's giving me my best shot at making what we call authentic contact with my hopes and goals and dreams? Okay? So, what we want to do is live right here. The only place to be. Okay? So, when we check in with our senses, when I see, touch, taste, hear, smell, it's a great way to bring me to the present moment. Alright? Everybody can try this. I'm going to find my pulse. Just tap it. And take a moment and see what you feel. Maybe what you feel. I feel the ground underneath my feet. Hands feel dry. Okay, right. This is where we are all together. It brings tears to my eyes. It's a beautiful place to be. We are right here and we can feel the joy. Okay? So, movement. Any type of movement is regulated. This is funny. Sometimes in the moment I'm like, excuse me, I need to go run a couple miles and I'll come right back and answer you. Okay? We can't do that. So instead, right in the moment, if you're talking to someone, move your body a little bit. Just start swaying. You're sitting on your desk, at your desk on a Zoom. Move your legs. Okay, it'll regulate. Just move. Right? Best thing to do, right? In between sessions, I will often walk around the outside of my house 2 or 3 times to help myself regulate. Dance. Right? Do some jumping jacks. Do some push-ups. Just move your body. It's very regulating. Okay? Kids, a beautiful thing to do with them. Let them dance. Make sure the walls are padded or not hurt themselves. But move your body. Drink something hot or cold. Feel it in you. Feel it going down. Okay? Outside, nature is regulating. Pick a color. Trauma World says that we should use every color of the rainbow. I just use 1 or 2. I'm going to give you an example of what that means. So I'm going to pick the color blue. Everybody pick a color. Everyone have a color? Okay. Look around the room and name the things that you see that are that color. Okay, where's your brain when you were doing that? Right, it was beautiful. I do it all the time, no one knows I'm doing it. Helps me regulate. I probably did it while I was talking to you guys. Help me stay regulated, okay? So, again, I think it's a little overkill to go through every color of the rainbow, but sometimes I do 2 or 3. right? What you'll find when you start practicing these is that you gravitate towards a few of them that work really well for you. Sometimes I need to use more than one, and sometimes just one does the trick to regulate. Okay, music is regulating. Hum, sing, play an instrument, tap some drums, put some music on. Why do you think there's music playing in the dentist's office? Okay, it's regulating. All right, great thing to do with kids too. Visualization basically is visualize your calm, happy place. But don't just describe it cognitively, use your senses. For example, mine would be on a cool day outside, temperature, I can feel about 73 degrees on my right cheek. I can feel some sun on the front of my face. I hear some laughter. I'm feeling the crunchiness of the leaves behind under my feet. Okay, describe it through your senses. Trick your nervous system. They'll think you're there. Your nervous system will think you're there. Okay? If you do this in front of a mirror, you'll watch your body just. Okay? Take a break. Count backwards from 30. It's a great way to remember how to pause. So, regulation tools, rapid reset tools. Look them up, use them. This is one of the best gifts that I can give you. Okay? All right. Thank you for coming. Okay. Sometimes, especially at the beginning, because we have to rewire our nervous system, which takes a long time, so have grace for yourself. Sometimes I just can't regulate. And when you can't regulate, you want to have established a code word with the people you care about, right? Children, partner. Make it a benign word, banana, purple, something like that, right? Tell the people in your family that anybody can use it, right? It's a safety word. Remember safety, most important thing. You can't do anything without safety. I can't learn to be my best self if I don't feel safe. I'm not in that part of my brain. I'm in the emotional part that just wants to fight or run away or I freeze. Okay, we need safety. So if I just can't regulate, I'll call purple on myself, right? And what it means is I'm not being my best self and you deserve my best self. So I'm going to take a break. Typically what I recommend is you say purple 20 or purple 10, purple 30, usually 20, 30 minutes. Sometimes I'll say purple 24 hours, which basically means I am not my best self, you deserve better, I'm taking a break. I would say I said purple 30. 30 minutes, I'm going to circle back and try again. And I'll try. And if I'm regulated, great. If not, I'll probably say purple again, 30, and try again. Okay? Also, we can call it on someone else. If I say purple to you, that basically means I'm not feeling safe. Right? I own it. And say, what's going on here? Doesn't feel right to me. I'm not feeling safe. I'm calling purple. I'm going to exit. Okay? When you say the code word, you teach it ahead of time, and you typically give when you're going to return. It helps people who just say, oh, I'm out, or they feel abandoned, right? When you say purple 30, it means I'm actually going to come back because I want to talk to you, right? Both people don't have to agree when someone uses the code word. Absolutely not. Just one person can call the code word, and it's valid, okay? Teach your children. Teach them too. It doesn't mean that if you ask them to do the dishes, they say purple. But if you say, if I'm screaming at you to do the dishes, purple me. Beautiful. You deserve my best self. You do not deserve to be screamed at. I want my children, remember that modeling? When they're on the playground and someone's a jerk to them, I want them to know that because they can feel it in their body. They're acutely aware like that. And they're like, hey, I don't like that. Please stop. And the person's like, I'm so sorry, I just failed a test, I'm being a jerk, I'm so sorry, right? Well, then let them stay and stay in contact. But if the other child continues to do this to them, they leave, okay? We have to empower them at home that safety is important and they can create their own safety, right? Even if the other person doesn't agree with them. All right. Okay, what was step number 1 in the parenting process? Awareness. Yep, 2. And now we're on 3, connection. One of my favorites. All right, 2 parts to connection, listening and validating. At the core in my practice, underneath most conflict, is when people don't feel seen and heard. When I don't feel seen and heard, I feel like I don't matter. And if I don't feel like I matter, why would I want to be in a relationship with you? And so our children, if they don't feel like they matter to us, you get it, right? We're the most important people in the world to them, right? Anyone ever talk to someone you feel like you could be talking to a tree? Okay, now picture that's your child trying to talk to you. Okay, that connection is really important. So let's talk about listening. Best way to listen. First way to communicate this connection piece is by listening. Eye contact. Open heart to open heart. Right? If it's your child, get down on their level and look them in the eye. My kids are big, so I'll be doing that. Get a step stool, right? But we want to stand as much as possible, eye to eye, open heart to open heart. Right? We really want to minimize screaming across the house. Okay? It's very different if I'm giving you a talk and I'm looking at the floor the whole time versus when I really try to look you in the eye, I'm communicating that I care because I do. I want to be here with you, connected with you, having the energy flow because you really matter to me, that you do. Okay? So, open heart, eye contact. Okay. Validation is a magical pill in life. I wish I could figure out how to bottle it and sell it. Okay? This saves relationships. I do a lot of marital counseling. We practice many sessions on validation. Really important. What is validation, right? It's communicating to someone that their truth is valid. It's that attunement. I feel you. I get you. I'm your person. I'm with you, right? Communicating that attunement really helps people feel safe, feel seen, feel heard, feel valued, feel like they matter, right? To me, it's one of the most important things after safety in a relationship. Okay, I've got you. I feel you. I'm your person. I'm here for you. It's important for all relationships, right? It's a way of communicating that the relationship is solid. I value it. It's important to me, right? My son's anger, right, that he had to turn the TV off is valid. That he threw the remote across the room, not okay, and we'll deal with that. But his anger is valid. It's his experience, right? This is how you validate. You picture a pot on the stove. You take in, remember those 5 senses? See, touch, taste, hear, smell. Take them from the other person, because remember, anything you take in through 5 senses is real, it's their experience. Put it in a pot, stir it, and give it back. I don't put any of my own ingredients in there. Validation is not judging, agreeing, disagreeing. So many people have trouble with this because they're like, I'm not going to validate, I don't agree. It has absolutely zero to do with agreeing. It's just communicating, I hear you. I'm a witness to your experience, and your truth is valid. No matter if I think you're nuts, right? Your experience is valid. I need to communicate that to you, okay? It sounds like to children, I heard that you were really frustrated with your teacher today. Sounds like your sister came in your room and it really made you mad. I get that you don't want to turn off the TV and turn SpongeBob off and go take a bath. I hear you, that's not really fun, is it? I'm not saying whether it's good, bad, right, or wrong. I'm just communicating to them that I hear them, okay? All right. Why do people repeat themselves, get louder, right? Change how they're saying things. They don't feel heard, okay? When I don't feel heard, it is a threat. Data's coming in, it feels threatening to me, right? I'm gonna go into my lower part of my brain, barking dog, okay? Validation is really hard to do, really hard, especially with our children, because it's super hard to hold space for their pain. It's super hard to hold space when your child's upset. You just want to fix it and go away. I want their pain to go away. I get that. People I love and care about, I don't want them to suffer. So it's with that in my heart that I constantly, unless I'm aware of this, dismiss my children's feelings all day long. Okay? Let me give you an example of that, right? So, child's walking towards you, holding a fish bowl. Fish died. Child's crying. Child's 6. We'll call her Julie. Julie comes towards me. I'm highly triggered, right? Data came in, went in this part of my brain. I was like, ooh, I'm scared. I have to talk about death. I don't know what to say. I'm sad. Why do I have to talk about death with a 6-year-old? I don't want to do that. And I'm mad that the fish I bought 3 days ago died. Okay? All of that's coursing through me. If I don't remember this that I need to regulate, I'm going to react and make things worse, right? I might say something like, why are you upset? It's just a fish. You don't need to cry. Because it's really hard to watch her cry, right? And she's going to be like, oh my gosh, did mom hear me? Is it okay to feel sad? Does she even care that I'm so upset? So she'll throw another test rope and try again to get me to be that adult she needs to help her regulate and feel help. She'll like, Mom, you don't get it. Nima was my best friend, and now I'm not going to have anyone to talk to after school, right? And so again, if I don't regulate, I'm going to react, try to fix it. Okay, well, I'll stop cooking dinner. We'll go to the fish store. We'll buy you a new fish. Okay, what am I communicating to my daughter? It's not okay to sit in pain, go numb yourself. We don't want that, right? And over time, if that's how I keep showing up, she's not going to feel safe to bring me her pain. Mom doesn't get it. She just tries to fix it, but she can't. She just messes it up. Okay? So what I want to say to her, right? I'll just handle this really quickly. So she comes to me. What do I want to do in the moment? What was step one? Well, step one was aware I'm triggered, right? Then what do? I regulate, right? So I use some of those rapid reset tools, get my nervous system back online, right? To where I need to be, present, centered in the smart part of my brain. I then connect, turn to her, get down on her level, look her in the eye, and I validate. And I say, wow, I see your tears. I hear how sad you are that Nemo died. And then she feels safer because I'm holding her. She gets it, right? She knows that I get it. She feels safe, so she can open up more and be vulnerable. Say, Mom, you don't understand. I love Nemo. I'm so sad. And now I'm not going to have anyone to talk to after school. So I validate again, hold her heart. I say, you're really sad. I hear that. I see your tears. I hear you're nervous. You're going to be lonely after school. Okay? I am creating safety, attunement. So many times when you start validating, right, things stop. People just want to feel seen and heard. They don't want us to fix things for us very often. My husband, sometimes I want to fix the toaster, but most of the time I don't want him fixing things for me. I want to learn to do that, right? Quick marital example. How are we on time? You guys want a quick marital example? He said yes. Okay. Sorry, I'm picking on you. We all can improve all of our relationships, all of this. So, sorry, I'm gonna pick on my husband's here. He drove me because it was raining. So, but years ago, right? Sorry, we were at home. I hung up the phone with my mom, and we had an argument. We had some conflict. It was something silly. She wanted me to make lasagna. I wanted to make spaghetti, but I was fired up when I hung up. I yelled my husband's name across the house. He was triggered. Angry wife yelling his name across the house. Scared. Uh-oh, what did I do? Right? He didn't use these and regulate. He reacted. He didn't want to see me upset. And he looked at me and he goes, Nance, it's no big deal. Just make what you want. Did that work? No. His outcome created his response created the very outcome he was hoping to avoid. I'm sure I got more mad. Now I was mad at him too. Does he even hear me? Does he even care? Does he think I need him to tell me what to do? If he had just gone through the process, ended with the validation of like, wow, you're really upset. That conversation with your mom really kind of got your heart, didn't it? I hear you. I see you. Anything you need from me? Like, no. Unicorns, butterflies, good stuff. Okay? Don't work so hard. Just take in what you see, touch, taste, hear, smell, stir it, and give it back. All right. So, quick tip, schedule time for connection, please. This is one of the most important things that you can do, right? Half of it, 50% of this, the value is in scheduling, and 50% is in actually doing it. When I schedule time with my children or my partner or anyone I care about, what I'm communicating is, I want, in this crazy world, it's so busy, I want to spend 10 minutes with you every day because I value you. I want to get to know you better. You really care, right? Beautiful. Right? What would that feel like if someone came up to us and said that? I want to be with you today. Gotta schedule it so I can make it happen. And then follow through. If you can't follow through because the toilet floods, just go back and say, I am so sorry, right? I know we're supposed to have our 10 minutes together, the toilet flooded, but we'll do it tomorrow at 7 o'clock, okay? Schedule that one-on-one connection time. Really valuable. No cell phones, no anything. Just active engagement. Open heart to open heart. Play a game, bake cookies, throw the football, take a walk. Doesn't matter. Just one-on-one with no outside influence. Okay. Step 4, last step is structure. And again, we could spend 65 years talking about this. I'm not going to. But you have lots of great resources here to help you with these things. Oops, my slides messed up. Sorry about that. I'm not sure how that happened. Anyway, step 4 is structure, right? right? Kids need structure to feel safe. If they don't have enough structure, they don't feel safe, they feel anxious. Think about a classroom where there's a substitute teacher, whether kids are 4 or 13, right? Woo, right? 4 or 13. Why does that happen? Because they come in, ground is shaking. They perceive a threat. They don't know what to expect. Will the teacher allow them to chew gum? Are they going to have a test? Will the teacher be nice when they talk to their friends? They don't know. So they throw test ropes at the poor substitute teacher to get them to give them the structure. So then they can calm down, they can regulate, they can connect back to self and focus on being their best self, not on surviving the classroom. Okay? So we need structure at home for people to feel safe. Okay? We could again spend hours, but rule of thumb, the first one says kind and firm. We want to be kind and firm when we set rules. Every home needs a house set of rules. Sit down with them. Little children, we keep hands to self. We use kind words, right? Teenagers need a lot of boundaries and rules. Kind and firm. We don't want to be jellyfish, squishy parents, where children just have to keep testing the boundaries. Is mom going to let me put my feet on the couch today because she's in a good mood? Or not, because she's not in a good mood? I don't know. Let me test that, right? No squishiness here. No best friend parenting. Firm boundaries. When children have too much power, they're in charge, they get scared. It's a threat because they know they shouldn't be in charge. They like it, but they know they shouldn't be in charge, and it's scary. Okay? Polarity of that, authoritarian parenting, no. Right? We don't want this either. So we don't want the squishiness, but we also don't want the authoritarian parenting where it's my way or no way. We want the backbone, firm and kind. I bend when necessary. Okay? Kind and firm. I set the structure, but I bend within the structure. So rules and boundaries, really important. Routines, responsibilities. Every child should have a morning routine, after school routine, homework routine, bedtime routine. Okay? Sit down, have a family meeting, figure out, let them have some input if they're old enough, come up with a plan, write it down, have them sign it, let them draw on it, post it. Visual aids are great. Okay? Clear expectations. This is where we set people up to fail all the time. Right? And we set ourselves up not to get our needs met simply by not being clear enough. Right? We say to a child, we're going to grandma's, I need you to be nice. What does that mean? In my brain, I know it means look grandma in the eye, say, hey, it's nice to see you, grandma. My child could think it means don't spit on grandma. Okay? Right? I'm going to set my child up to fail unless I'm crystal clear. You tell a 5-year-old to go clean his room and then he can go outside. 5-year-old, in their brain, they'll go upstairs, they'll shove everything under the bed. He cleaned it. He's not being manipulative. That's their mess gone. I go upstairs, I flip out. I get dysregulated. I think he's lying to me. I set him up to fail, set myself up not to get my needs met. Next time I say, honey, I need you to clean your room, which means this. 3 things to a 5-year-old. Blocks, basket, books. Bookcase, bed covers like this. Make sure they're age and developmentally appropriate tasks, right? Have them repeat back to you and try it. Now they know. And then they can make a choice, right? Okay, let's see. Use I statements to make requests, right? Research shows when you begin a sentence with you, it's the beginning of a threat. So people immediately go into their barking dog brain and don't hear you, even if you're about to say you were so beautiful, right? They hear the you and they put up their defenses. I statements, quick example, wet towel on the floor. Right? What I used to do, what most parents do, like, how many times do I have to tell you to pick up the towel off the floor? You're going to ruin the floors. Right? Not your maid. Okay? Does that increase the probability my child's going to want to pick up the towel? No. Okay? They perceive me as a threat. We all know what happens then. So, better. And I'll give you a best. Better. I statement. I need the towel to go on the hook. I'm owning it. It's my problem. I want the towel to go on the hook. Even better. Be as objective as possible. Hey, honey, see that wet towel on the floor? Wet towels belong on bathroom hooks. Hey, sweetie, see those dishes on the counter? Dishes belong in the dishwasher after dinner. Okay?
What do you do when they say, okay, Mom, go ahead.
That's for the next parent. Well, what would I do? I would breathe, regulate, validate, right?
I know kids, mine, who would
Yes.
say that.
I love it. Okay, so what else? Make sure you say what you want, not what you don't want, right? Instead of don't throw the ball in the house, say I need the balls to be thrown outside. Ready? Everybody, don't think of the color blue. What are you thinking of? I need you to think of the color red. Okay? State what you want, not what you don't want. All right, decide which behavior you can ignore. Don't sweat the small stuff. Please, we worry about way too much. Let the small things go, right? And then when they hit their brother, things like that, yes, they need consequences, right? And Elizabeth, you can help with all of that. But look those up, age and developmentally appropriate consequences. But remember, kind and firm. It's the connection that matters, right? Kids can't learn when they're freaked out, when they feel threatened. They cannot learn a lesson. Make sure they're in the out part of their brain so they can actually talk about what just happened, okay? Choices basically when, then, either, or. I set the box, I'm the parent. But within the box, I give choices. It's time to get in the car, my box. Choices. Would you like to hop like a bunny or pretend you're a train? It's time to take a bath. Would you like to use the blue towel or the green towel? When, then, either, or. When your coat's on, then you can go out and play. Either you choose to do your homework or you choose not to have your screens tonight. Okay, when, then, either, or. Please don't set them up to give them a choice. It's not really a choice. We wouldn't say when your coat's on, then you can go to school. Okay? Make sure it really is a choice that you're giving them. All right. Basically, we want to remember that we want the consequences to do the screaming, not us. It's a bedrock truth in life, no matter who you are. Every single choice you make in life has consequences. There are different types. That's for another day. But that is the crux of discipline. We're trying to teach our children that every choice in life that they make has consequences. And we want those to teach them, not our screaming. Right? When your child leaves his bike outside and gets run over, he doesn't get a new one until he saves up enough money to buy one, or for Christmas or his birthday. Same thing, your teenager jumps in the pool with their phone in their pocket. Same thing. Your 8-year-old leaves their homework on the table. It stays there. Okay? I want the child to feel the discomfort at school from having to tell their teacher they don't have their homework. So the next day they're like, oh no, I don't want that to happen again. What should I do? Oh, I should put my homework in the backpack by the door so then I remember it so then I can have it when I get to school. Okay? All right, remember that empty threats are really broken promises. How many times do we say, if you don't turn the TV off, you're never watching it again? Our children know we're full of it, right? So in the moment, they're like, I don't need to turn the TV off. I'm just gonna ask them 15 times and I get 15 more minutes of the show. I'm good, right? But more importantly, so not only do we create more frustration for ourselves, because they know we're really not gonna follow through, it decreases trust. They learn that they can't believe my word, which is a much bigger problem, right? So, like, how can I bring something to mom? My friend wanted me to smoke pot with them, but if I bring it to mom, I never know if what she says is what she's gonna do. I don't think I trust her, feel safe to talk to her about this. I'll go find someone else to talk to. Okay? We want them to feel safe to talk to us, that we're not gonna freak out. We might not like what they're doing, but we can handle it. We're gonna stay regulated, smart part of our brain, connect, validate, hold space, problem solve, walk next to them through this, okay? Kids have to believe that what we say is true. We're their first authority figures. They can't believe it at home, they're gonna have a really hard time out in the world and at school, okay? So, if you say something that just, isn't true, right? Let's use a TV example. The moment I'm aware that I screwed up, own it. I'm gonna screw up all the time, so are my kids. Let them know that's okay. But teach them how to handle it when they screw up. Hey, you know what? Yesterday when I told you that if you don't turn my mouth goes fast in my brain. If we don't turn the TV off when I ask you the first time, that you're never gonna watch TV again, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean that. I was just really dysregulated. I was just bumped out of my zone. What I meant was, next time you choose not to listen the first time, you're choosing to lose your screens for 24 hours. Okay? Teach them. When you screw up, be aware, own it, apologize, try to make amends. Okay? All right, review. Everybody everybody, what's step 1 of this mindful engagement parenting process? Yeah. Step 2?
Self-regulation.
Yep. Step 3?
Connection.
Step 4?
Structure.
All right. We're almost there. I make it look like a piece of cake. I know. I've been practicing this for eons and eons and eons, right? We're just trying to create new neural pathways. It takes time. Lift the weights. Even if for a month you just do step 1 where you do what we call increase your awareness functioning of your body and that you're triggered. Beautiful. Pat yourself on the back. And then the next month, add in step 2. Beautiful. A couple months from now, you're going to internalize this stuff. It's a lifelong gift, right? Model it for your children. Teach them about self-regulation. In the moment, right? When you're all stressed out, say, just a moment, you deserve my best self. I'm going to hum now, okay? Model for them what you want them to do, right? We want them to stop, regulate before they open their mouth at school or anywhere else, right? Or with us, okay? So, just practice, okay? Expect kids to resist change at first, right? So, this is how we showed up before my talk tonight, right? Some level of this. This is how I used to be until I learned all this, right? That's our best, that's cool. But what we're aiming for, that's Glenda, isn't that her name?
Glenda, yeah.
Glenda, thank you. Okay, and she's Wicked Witch of the West. West?
Oh, yeah.
What? Okay, so we want to be more like Glenda, that mindful engagement, right? But you know what? If our children are used to her, the Wicked Witch of the West, that's what they're going to like. Because why? It's familiar. So it's comfortable. I don't mean that it feels good, but it's their norm. Nobody likes change, especially kids. And that's okay. We just have to show them. This is front-loaded with effort, but the more you practice now and you get it, it is a lifelong gift, how to show up, okay? So just show them over time that you mean business, that you're going to try as hard as you can to show up as Glenda. And when you don't, you just own it and apologize and say, hey, I'm working on this. Praise effort in our children. Look at a study by Carol Dweck called Growth Mindset. It teaches us what we want to praise, right? We want to praise the grades, we want to praise the effort. So model the effort. Say, this is really hard, but you deserve my best self, and so do I. I'm working so hard to practice this. Some days I'm going to get it, and some moments I'm not. Okay? So eventually, when we're consistent enough, some kids it takes just a couple of days, depends how old they are, how deep the patterns are, right? Some kids it's going to take a couple months for them really to trust that this is how we're going to really try to show up. This becomes their new norm, becomes more familiar, so it becomes more comfortable. It feels much better to myself and to whoever I'm interacting with. And if you think you can't do it, think of Rosa Parks, right? It all begins with this one sentence. I'm not sure what anybody else is going to do, right? The only way to create change is to look at my part of the pattern, right? So what she did was so courageous. She knew as long as she waited for others to change, she was in a very helpless space. Remember this handshake? Helpless, hopeless. But if you remove your hand from the handshake, like she did, and courageously did something different, thank goodness she could change the world. And we can change our family systems, and we can bring ourselves more peace. So, thank you for sitting through that. Any questions? Do you have questions?
Can I put you in my pocket and just carry you around, please?
You're so
After
sweet.
mine.
Only if you offer me cookies.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, you got it.
Oh, I hear you. And what I'm imagining, right, is that it's a lot to take in, right? I've been practicing this for 20-odd years. So just remember that. But I started somewhere too. And it's just think about running a marathon. You just start with one step and then pat yourself on the back and then take another step, pat yourself on the back, because you know what? You're kids and you don't have to wait till the very end, wherever that is, to get value. It's in the process, in the effort. It's in the, hey, I'm really trying to create more peace for myself. That's where I'm. Just being here is your steps. Anybody else? Okay, well, thank you very much for coming. Thank you, this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was great. We will have the recording available next week. So you can review this information and take some screenshots and get those good details as well. And thanks everyone for coming out and safe swimming back home.
Yes. Thank you much. Everyone take care and have a good holiday.